almost every morning I wake up to homemade iced coffee. I guess technically it's cold brew. I usually like to have almond milk in my coffee, but I recently learned that most almond milks have gums, and that's not healthy. This was the only one I could find that was healthy. Throughout my day, I ponder what my next creative project will be. I love my dogs so much. That's my puppy Romeo. He is wild. Lately, the fall leaves have been inspiring me. There's something so nostalgic about this time of year, the colors, knowing that winter is coming. Sounds like a Game of Thrones reference, but it's not. This is the first time I've ever had a real studio, and I turn on my lights because I know I'm gonna record the process. A blank canvas is always so incredibly satisfying. So many possibilities. I'm so grateful I have the opportunity to do what I love. Like I said, this is the first time in my life where I've ever had a space that I can make art and record. And it gets messy sometimes, but that's okay. I'm using basic acrylic paints. I got these paints on Amazon, actually. It's all about how you use your colors, although the brand does matter. Maybe sometime I can show you my mixing process. Shall we begin painting this landscape? Let's go. All right. Yeah, so hi. Thank you for stopping in. I'm excited to paint this landscape inspired by Bob Ross. I say inspired by because I have my own method. Oh, somebody's excited out there. I'm gonna add water to my canvas to make it wet. This will make the application process of the paint smoother and easier. So alright, the next thing I'm gonna do is use my dark blue paint that I mixed, and I'm going to paint the sky. It's a little too dark. Actually, I kind of like it. As you can see, I'm ombreing the blue into the white, allowing the white of the canvas to show through the water. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of a lighter shade of blue and blend it in here so it's a more gradual progression from anyways. I like that it's gonna be more of a gradual progression from dark to light. I'm adding more paint to it as well. Painting from top to bottom, top to bottom. Nice. I'm gonna be painting so much over that. The way it matters, or the way it looks right now, doesn't even matter, really. This is my brush. It sounds like someone might be watching TV. Just gonna set that paintbrush down. I'm now gonna use this paintbrush. Just going to look at those large shapes that are in my reference, and if I was outside I would do the same. Whether you're looking at a real scenery or a picture, you have to apply the same skills for the most part. It's probably much easier to paint from a picture than it is from live observation, but this is kind of like outlining, but it's outlining with colors and blocking off the shapes so that when you go into paint, you don't have to think of the placement of anything. So I'm focusing on the placement right now of all of the separate elements of the painting. And then after I do that, I'll figure out how to build each element up so that it looks like a painting. So, yeah. Pretty much using burnt sienna right now, and kind of creating blobs of where I know the trees are gonna be. That's the best way I can put it. They're future trees, current blobs. They're blobs that will one day become trees. happy little trees at that. I know you were thinking it, so. And in there's actually some green, which doesn't really make sense yet, but it will. And a little bit of yellow. Some reflection of the blobs. That might be a little bit too dark, but really, honestly, it's okay. Because everything is gonna change. By the time this is done, it's gonna just all have gone through so much metamorphosis. So I look forward to sharing that process. Okay. Yes. I like this. And just take my thick white paint and start to paint my mountain in with the white. Already it's somehow just coming to life. It's coming to life. And I feel good about it already. If everything is architecturally sound, then as you build up the layers, it'll probably look pretty good. Don't be afraid to use brush strokes. It's okay. Don't be afraid. I like brush strokes, so it's okay. As you can see, I embrace the fact that paint is super expressive, and sometimes less is more in terms of detail, especially if it's distant. If whatever you're painting is in the distance, don't worry about it being full of detail, because your brain isn't capable of really comprehending detail that's far away anyways. So sometimes the lack of clarity is actually what makes your painting look so interesting and realistic. It's okay if it's not totally clear. I feel pretty happy with the way this looks so far. The next step is to go back to other brush, but I'm gonna rinse this one really good before I do. Just painting them in. It's okay if it's not perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. I kind of like the organic effect of when the paint applies different thicknesses in different places. It actually makes whatever it is that you're painting look a little bit more 3D. When you look at a painting up close just to see those little brush strokes, it's kind of mind-blowing. And then when you step away from it, your brain sees it totally different. And I think in order to be a painter, you have to tap into that, because you have to acknowledge that, because you're constantly coming up close to your painting to paint it, obviously, but you also have to step away from it to see what it really looks like, because when you're up close, all you see is inch by inch, but you can't really see the whole thing together. So it's a challenge to be close enough yet far enough from your painting. But notice these brushes that I'm using are quite long. That is to encourage the painter to stay distant from their painting. The strange thing about painting is you kind of have to really analyze the obvious, which is why a lot of painters can focus on such simple subject matters for such a long time, because in order to paint it, you really have to comprehend what that simplicity means in terms of paint, because everything is kind of complex. There is nothing really simple. And you realize that when you try to actually paint something, you realize how dynamic the world is just all around you. Just working on the tree and simplifying some of the brush work. It's weird when you think of just gonna add a few highlights back here also want to brighten the water. The water just feels a little, it just feels a little all over the place. I think I heard my dog outside my door just working on adding enough layers to the water for it to all feel nice and blended. But we still have to get those good reflections in as well. A little bit of red in the distance. I think that really helps. I might even add some red into my tree up here, but I feel like I need to let it dry for a minute before I go too crazy with it. Sometimes you'll mix your paint, and by the time you get back to your painting, you kind of forgot what you were about to do. That happens to me a lot. It's a back and forth when you add color. And it's not just for the gifted, it's for everybody. And I wish our society nurtured creativity more than it does currently, but that's okay, because that doesn't mean it'll always be like that. Yeah, that's good. It's basically gonna be just a few highlights. I feel pretty good about this. I have my phone in my hand because that's where my reference is. Looking at it pretty closely here in the final touches. I like it. Actually, I really do. I think it turned out nicely. I don't know if I need to do anything else. Maybe just a little bit of finesse in here. That looks good. What a relaxing scenery. I'm really happy with this. Don't you just wish you were there? I am this painting. I think it turned out really nicely. I would say my favorite aspect of this painting is the colors and the brushstrokes. I'm really excited to see who ends up taking this one home. I'll put my Etsy and website and email in the description of the video. Reach out if you're interested. I have way too many paintings. At the end of the day, I'm really pleased with what I made. And it's time to make dinner, hang out with my puppies. I'll see you next time. Love you.